Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got another great little interactive space-saving feature for you today. If I roll down, we've got our little module here or a section here. Put a little bit of text in there. It's got a little button that says See More. If I click on it, it's going to show us the rest of that article. Button's going to change to See Less down there. If I click on it again, it's going to close it up and take us back to the top. That's a really nice little interactive space-saving feature to have on your site. Done this for a lot of clients, they love it. Really easy to do, so let's get started. I'm going to enable my Visual Builder. Great, let's roll down. We'll add a new section. Click on any existing section, hit the little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to use a regular section for mine today. I'm going to throw a single column in there. In mine, I'm going to use a blurb module. This will work for any module you want though. I've got some text that I'm going to put in there. Let's just go down to our content here and I'll paste it in there quickly. And that's my title. Let's cut that, Control X. Shove that back up the top and put that in the title. So don't need quite as many words as I do. Fantastic. I'm going to use an icon for mine instead of an image today. So if we roll down past the content, image and icon, I'm going to switch that to icon. Because we're going to expand it, let's give it a little down arrow. Perfect. Okay, because I'm using a blurb module, it's got a fixed width. I actually want to expand this to the full width of the row it's sitting in. So let's go over to our design. If we go down to sizing, there's the 550 pixels it usually puts in there. I'm going to put in 100 and the % sign. So it uses all the available space within that row. Perfect. Well, let's close that one up. I want my writing to be light in colored. Obviously, that's entirely up to you. And also that too. So let's give our little blurb module a dark background. Backgrounds are always under content. I'm just going to give it a dark grey. 24, 24, 24 is what I've been using. Let's use that again. Fantastic. Now we want to turn the text light, make that a little bit smaller, give it a little bit of padding either side. Obviously, styling is entirely up to you. So to turn all the text light, we can go to the text and just switch it from dark to light. Of course, you can do the title text and the body text individually if you want to. Let's pop that title in the middle. And I'll make it a little bit bigger too. Let's make it semi-bold perhaps. Pop it in the middle. Let's say 30 pixels. Well, our icon's a bit big. Blue's not too bad. I'm going to turn everything white. Our image and icon's right at the top, still on the design tab. Make it white. Perhaps 50 pixels. Great. And we'll give it a bit of breathing space all around with a bit of padding. So let's just close up our icon. Padding and margin are always under spacing. I'm going to give it 30 pixels all around. Perfect. Now let's just get rid of this section down below. Save on confusion. I'm going to save that. I'm actually going to make this section the same color as our blurb module here. Purely because that's the way I want it. Again, I'll use that 24, 24. Great. Okay. We've got our little blurb module. We've got our long article here. Let's add a button that they can use to see more or read more or see less, whatever you want to see. So I'm going to add a little button module underneath. Let's pop it in the middle. Let's say read more, perhaps. Now, the important thing, don't put a link in there. I'm not going to put a link in there at all. If you put a hashtag or a link in there, it's going to take it to the top of the page when you click on it. That's not what we want. Let's just pop that button in the middle, make it slightly more interesting. Button down below here. Flip the little switch to on. Keep this very simple. I'm going to turn the text white. Background, let's perhaps have it purple. And when they hover over it, we'll turn it blue. This is common to all Divi modules, sections and rows if you hover over the dark writing within. Some little icons that appear. If there's a little arrow there, it'll bring up 2 tabs. Desktop, we'll keep it purple. Hover tab, obviously when the mouse is on it, let's change that to a blue. Great, we'll flip it back to desktop mode. And I don't think I want a border on mine. So border width, I'm just going to take that to 0. Fantastic. Great, well we've got everything we need here, a button and the article. How are we going to shrink this down and then expand it? Well, we're going to use a code module. And again, I've written it all for you. And we're going to use a bit of CSS, a bit of JavaScript, some class names, and some CSS IDs. So let's add a little code module just under my button. I'm going to hit the little dark button to add a new module. We'll throw in a code module. I've got a PDF here with the code in it. I'll put this link down below the video. We want to select all of this code from the opening style tag all the way down to the script tag at the bottom there. Make sure you don't cut off any of those pointy arrows, because if you do, it will not work. And there's a little line at the bottom. If you happen to get that, we can delete it from our code module. It was just actually where the file was residing on my computer. So let's copy this, Control-C. Going to go back. Here's our code module. I'm going to place my cursor in there, left click. Hit Control-V to paste, or right click and paste, whatever you want to do. And there's that bit of text I was telling you about. It should be right at the top. It'll be white in color. Just select all of that. If you happen to have copied it, delete it. Gone. Fantastic. What I've got here, I'll just talk you through it a little bit, is I've got some style, which is CSS in between here. I've got a class name of expandable, which I'm going to apply to the blurb itself, the blurb module, which will make it 200 pixels tall. And if that's not enough, you can adjust it. I'll show you how to do that in a while. I've got a bit of script that when we click on the button, it's actually going to switch from expandable to expanded, which is going to make the height 100%. In other words, the height it is now. But also with the button, when they click on it to make it smaller again, I want it to go back up to the top. So I've got another element and a bit of code here that's going to scroll it back up to the top of this section. So let's make all this work for us. First thing I need to do is give our blurb module itself this class name, expandable. Now you can either type it in there or just copy it. When you copy it, don't put the dot in there. When we write code, we need a dot. When we apply it to a class name, it doesn't need to have the dot in front of it. So I'm going to copy that, Control-C, expandable, save that. We'll go back into our little blurb module. Over to the advanced CSS IDs and classes. It's a class name. Make sure you put it in the class. And remember, without the dot, don't put it in the CSS ID. It will not work in this case. And you may have noticed that it's shrunk down to 200 pixels high. Now, if that works for you, great. If you happen to have a bit more text you want to show, or less even, you can adjust that bit of code. Let's do that just to show you exactly what's going on. I'm going to save the blurb settings. We'll go back into the code module here. It's just under the button. There's our 200 pixels. If you want to show more, just at that value. For instance, if I make it 300 pixels, it's showing a lot more. Like I say, adjust it to taste. I think my 200 was actually working for me fine. Let's put that there. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, you can adjust it as well on tablet and mobile because it will shrink down. So if we look at our code here, roll over it. Again, we've got some icons up here. There's a little mobile phone type icon. You can have different values on tablet. That's actually fine too, but you could change it just on tablet by entering a new value here, and similar for mobile phone. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go back to desktop. Great. Well, we gave our little module a class name of expandable, our blurb module. We roll down a little bit here. We need to give our button an ID, not a class name, an ID of toggle button. So let's copy that. And you just need the word. Make sure you don't get the inverted commas either side. And we're going to go to our button now. Let's save our code module, roll down to the button. Go over to Advanced CSS IDs and Classes. Let's just shrink this down a little bit. Now this time it's an ID, not a class, so make sure you put this one in the ID right there. Fantastic. Now that's going to tell that button when we click on it to run the function of making this 100%. Great. Now if we go back into our code module now, we need for this thing to scroll back up to the top. So let's go back into our code module. And because code modules don't take up real estate, you may have trouble getting to it sometimes. I mean, I can get to this one okay, but if you have trouble getting to yours, hit the little purple button. You can go to wireframe mode or wireframe view. There it is right there. Really easy. Actually, that's not the right button. There's our blurb. There's our button we want to work with. Okay, so like I say, go back into this code module. We roll down there. We've got another class name here called expandable element. Again, without the inverted commas either side. We're going to put this in the blurb module so it knows which element to expand from 200 pixels to 100%. So I've copied that. Save our changes here. Go back into the blurb module. Remember, it's an ID this time. We already put a class name in there. So I'm going to paste that in the ID there. Perfect. Now we just got one more, which is for the section, which is going to tell it where to scroll back up. So let's go back into our code module here. Let's roll down. And there it is, blurb top on line 26. Again, don't need those inverted commas. We're going to copy that, Control C. We'll save that into our section. And again, this is an ID, not a class. So make sure you put it in the CSS ID. Great, we'll save that. If we've done everything correctly, this should work. There's one more thing I will show you though. For the text that's actually in the button that you want to change, if I go back into this code module, roll down, you can change what the button says. Line 30, line 34 here, see more and see less. I'm going to change mine to read more. That's what I put initially in my button, so when it goes back, it'll say the same thing. And if I change this, you'll see instead of see less, it says read less. I kind of like the see less better, but it's just to show you how you can change this button text on click. Great. So like I say, if we've done this correctly, this should work. If we've not, it won't. Let's save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's exit the Visual Builder. Roll on down to our little section here. Here we have it. We've got this much showing. Here's our button. Read more. I click on it. It's going to expand our text here. The button now says read less. If I click on it again, it's going to take us back to the top of our section and reduce this again to 200 pixels. And the text is going to change to read more. Like I say, that's a great little interactive space-saving feature to have on your website. Now you can have multiples on your page if you want to, but you will have to actually change class names, IDs, etc. So each one's unique, and also the function name itself. But you can have exactly the same thing on different pages without changing the code at all. So there you have it, guys. That's how to create an awesome little expanding section on button click. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget, I'll put all this code in a link down below. It'll just open this PDF and you can do exactly what I did here. And if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you. We'll make another little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.